Could this be the best free camping road in Washington? Imagine finding a place in some of the most beautiful, rugged, and remote wilderness in Northeast Washington state, where you can camp beside a mountain creek, surrounded by forest, wildlife, the sounds of nature, and far away from other people. Is there still a place where you can camp for free away from the crowds? There just might be. Sullivan Creek Road. I've spent years camping up and down this road, and after all that time, I still haven't found another place quite like it. Today, I'm taking you with me as we explore Sullivan Creek Road. I'll show you every campsite and talk about what each one has to offer. And then I'm going to show you my favorite spot to rest, relax, and explore. Free camping that's quiet, beautiful, and easy to reach is becoming harder to find. About 2 hours north of Spokane, there is a 12-mile stretch of road that might just be Washington State's best kept camping secret. Sullivan Creek Road starts just north of Sullivan Lake and climbs in elevation into the Colville National Forest all the way up to the Salmo Mountain Wilderness. It's remote, it's wild, and it's covered in snow for 7 months of the year. But the location isn't what makes Sullivan Creek special. People usually camp in developed campgrounds. They are beautiful, but they're often crowded and expensive. Sullivan Creek Road is different. The campsites are spread out, tucked into trees, and some are right on Sullivan Creek. And best of all, they are completely free. So let's see what this 12 miles of camping wilderness looks like. When you get up to the boat ramp, that's it'll be on the right. It says East Sullivan and Sullivan Lake Group Camping. That's where the boat ramp is. Campsite 1 is on your left. Campsite number 1 seems to always be reserved. But if you like exploring the creek on both sides of a bridge, then campsite number 2 may just work for you. There is easy access on both sides of the road into the creek. However, it's right on the road and the parking space is pretty small. If you require more privacy, parking, and a easy sloping trail down to the creek with a shallow area for young children to play in the water, then campsite number 3 is for you. If having a restroom nearby matters, almost across the road from campsite number 3 is campsite number 4 and 5. This is the first pit toilet available on Sullivan Creek Road. You might want to bring your own toilet paper just in case. Every campsite has a fire ring. Fires are permitted in the fire rings as long as there isn't a burn ban. Now, forest rangers do visit campsites during burn bans to make sure that there's no fires that threaten the forest and threaten the wildlife. If you want to be close to the road and close to the creek, campsite number 6 has room for a couple vehicles or a truck and a trailer. It has easy access to the creek and a trail that follows up the creek that you can explore. The next 2 spots have lots of privacy. They are tucked back into the woods near the creek and have more room for vehicles to park. You may have also noticed something unusual about every campsite: bear boxes. Why? Because this wilderness is home to black bears and to one of the few remaining grizzly populations in the state of Washington. The Forest Service installed bear boxes because there are grizzly bears present in the Salmo-Priest Wilderness, which surrounds Sullivan Creek on both sides. Storing your food away in bear boxes or in your vehicles is required at all times for your own safety. Turn right onto campsite 7. If you like having lots of privacy, room to park, and a large area to explore, then you're going to really like campsite 7. There's a short jaunt over to the creek. It's not very far away, easy access into the water. Someone made a little rock pool that you can play in that's really shallow for the kids. There's also a little trail that goes back in the woods on the left behind the bear box, and it's a fun place. This is campsite 8. I've camped at campsite 8 before and really enjoyed it there. If you like having lots of privacy, room to park, and a large area to explore all the way down to the creek, then you're going to really like campsite 8. Across from campsite number 8 is the Concho Gulch camping area, which has a pit toilet and 6 individual campsites next to each other. This would be a great spot for group camping, even though it's across the road from the creek. There's one campground further up the road that has become well known among Bigfoot researchers. We'll get there. But first, there are several campsites you shouldn't overlook. If you want a small and remote camp far away from other campers, campsite number 9 is on the left, but it is close to the road. It's quite a ways from the creek, and there's enough spot here for 2 small cars to park. Better for just one, and a little bit of room for camping, but there is some trails that you can hike on here, and of course you can walk through the woods over to the creek. Now this campsite has a little more parking and doesn't look like much, but across the road is a wonderful place to explore all the way over to the creek. If you want to camp as a group near a restroom, then Johns Creek camping area is the one you'll want to camp at and is a great place for families to all be close to each other. There are 6 sites at Johns Creek. On the other side of the road, this area of the creek is shallow and easy to get into the water. There's also a bridge across the road that takes you up to the top of Hall Mountain, where there is a trailhead you can go hiking on. The area it takes you to is called Grassy Top. The views going up to Hall Mountain are epic. If you cross the bridge and turn right instead of heading up Hall Mountain, you'll be at campsite number 11. It has a large area to set up tents, a turnaround for trucks and campers, and trails through the forest over the creek that are fun to explore. Another benefit of camping at this site is across the road to Hall Mountain is an old forest road that you can hike up into a small valley, and there's a creek that flows down from it into Sullivan Creek. Maybe you're the kind of camper that likes watching wildlife from your chair. If so, the next 2 campsites might become your new favorite. The next one has lots of room for camping and parking, and it is in between the road and the creek. It isn't as private as some of the others, but I've had mule deer casually wander into camp here while I was making coffee. If you're pulling a trailer and camping with friends, this is one of those rare spots where nobody feels cramped. Campsite number 13 is more than a mile away from other campers up and down the road, so you have lots of privacy. I see white-tailed deer here all the time. One of my favorite things to do after breakfast is to explore the old roads behind camp and hike across the road through the dense forest over to the creek. You know, one of the things I love about Sullivan Creek is that every campsite feels different. Some are tucked into the thick forest, others right on the creek, and the further you go up in elevation, the scenery changes. The forest gets thicker, the creek has deeper banks, larger rocks, and the trees have more of an alpine look to them. If you like tall trees and lots of shade, this next one might work for you. Campsite number 14. It has lots of room for tents, but the parking spot is kind of short. This is where some campers reported hearing whistles around their camp at night, and a friend of mine found some Bigfoot tracks in the soft forest floor the next day. Up ahead on the right, there is an old abandoned bridge that crosses the creek to a forest road that's no longer used. And right next to it is campsite number 15. I've explored this area, and I've even climbed the hill across the road and found old logging roads up there that are fun to hike on. Going 1 mile further, you will cross a bridge over the creek, and there will be 3 options. Take the turn to your left and head up to Salmo Mountain. Now when you've reached this bridge here, you've gone 6 miles from the start, and you got 6 more miles to go. Sullivan Creek Road takes a left. So you want to go up to the Salmo Lookout direction or Salmo Mountain. And the campsites for the next 6 miles, there's not as many, and they're further spread out. Now this is where you'll begin noticing something. The creek becomes wilder, the rocks get larger, and the air starts getting cooler. Accessing the creek in the next 4 miles isn't easy, but it can be done if you're adventurous. In a couple miles, you will cross another bridge. And campsite 16 is on the right-hand side. This campsite is absolutely beautiful, and you're not only right on Sullivan Creek, but there's another creek that comes out of a small valley that flows right next to the camp. Both creeks are fun to explore. I got a report from a camper that said he found a Bigfoot track in camp the next morning here. And if you hike back down across the bridge, there is a gated road that leads into a small valley where the oldest structure in the Colville National Forest is located. This used to be a mining camp at one time. I was told by a local that when he was young, he camped there in that old building, and they had rocks thrown at them, hitting the roof of the building. Was it Bigfoot? A few more miles up is campsite number 17, and it's on the right-hand side, right next to the creek. So what do you actually do when you get up here? Rest, relax, explore the forest and the creek, go hiking on official trails, do photography, try gold panning, enjoy the wildlife, or drive out to Sullivan Lake and go swimming or kayaking. Campsite number 17, and it's on the right-hand side, right next to the creek. The creek area here is kind of deep and rugged, but there is a way that you can get down to the creek, and it's absolutely beautiful to explore. This is one of those locations that has also had a reported Bigfoot sighting. It was after sunset, and a man said that he saw a creature 8 foot tall standing and watching them in camp from a distance. Now another mile or so up the road, you're going to come to a bridge which also crosses the creek. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see campsite number 18. Now, campsite number 18 is located right next to a hiking trailhead. And if you take that trail down, it will go down behind campsite 17 on the backside of the creek. Campsite 18 is a beautiful little camp spot. And right behind it, if you want to go exploring, there's some little trails through the woods that you can hike. Now, right across from campsite 18 is my favorite place to camp, the Gypsy Meadows Campground. which has a pit toilet and 6 individual campsites next to each other. It has easy access to the creek and a trail that follows up the creek. There is a road to the right of the restroom, and if you follow it all the way back, it'll take you to the actual Gypsy Meadow. Now this is an area that has 3 different campsites that you can camp at, and it's also used by people who like to bring their horses up and go ride horses on the trails. So if you smell something that smells like manure, it's most likely horse manure. Now if you've watched my channel before, you've probably seen this place. This camping area has become famous lately among Bigfoot researchers. But even if you're not interested in Sasquatch, it's one of the most beautiful camping spots on Sullivan Creek. So is Sullivan Creek Road really Washington's best kept camping secret? For me, absolutely. I've camped at a lot of beautiful places over the years, but there's something special about this road. Maybe it's the sound of the creek, maybe it's the forest, maybe it's just getting out, relaxing, exploring, and enjoying a fresh adventure. But whatever it is, my son often tells me when I return from camping on Sullivan Creek that I look 10 years younger, and I feel it too. There are several creeks that converge behind the meadow, and across the creek is an old-growth forest you can explore. If you're adventurous enough to cross the creek and go explore it. It's covered with huge trees, which is amazing. They're really tall, really big.
I mean, it's more than 100 years old. It's hundreds.
Yeah.
I don't know how old, but
definitely way bigger than the 100-year-old forests you see.
Look at this tree. Got an old dead log and a little tree growing out of it. So here we are in this old growth forest, and we're looking for whatever evidence we can find. But in the meantime, oh my gosh, this place is beautiful.
hey!
I can't even see him, he's so camouflaged. Freedom, solitude, simplicity, adventure, and discovery. Now if you want to see some beautiful scenery and go for a hike, drive up Sullivan Creek Road a few more miles and you'll come to the Basin trailhead. But before you pack up and head out to camp on Sullivan Creek Road, there are a few things you should know. This isn't a campground in the city. This is true wilderness. That means grizzly bears, black bears, cougars, rapid weather changes, falling trees, and no cell phone service. If you come prepared, you'll probably have an amazing trip. If you don't, this wilderness has a way of reminding you who's really in charge. If you decide to visit, I would love to hear which campsite became your favorite. And if you want to see one of my other adventures, including some Bigfoot documentaries that I've done, watch one of these videos here.